So the Jussie Smollett trial has begun, and honestly, do any of us really care after almost 3 years since the incident first occurred, with everything that has gone on in the world since then? Do you or do you not care? Well, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to tell you why most people don't really care, and I personally think this trial is going to fizzle, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to talk about it. Let's go. Hey everyone, it's your girl Miss Analytical. I'm coming to you straight out of NYC on this Wednesday morning, early morning at that, the first day of the last month of this year. And hopefully you all are okay, doing well. Shout out to everybody all over the world that's tuning into my podcast. And before I begin, I want to give a shout out to everybody that has viewed the Trisha Paytas commentary dealing with Will Smith sleeping with 2 gay men that she worked with before. That's a podcast. Forcing gay male sex. That is a commentary that I published 15 months ago, September of 2020. And it was literally only 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And boy, in the last 48 hours, I've literally garnered 1,469 views from that and listens. And I just want to say thank you to all of those that viewed that. Literally, I now have 7.4 clicks from that. And I remember last month, I only had 2.9. So I want to take the time out to say that YouTube may not be pushing my channel as a whole, but you guys are listening to old commentary, and that really means a lot to me. Oh, actually it's 7.5. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So I want to get into the whole Jussie Smollett trial. The trial has begun. It started yesterday, and it began with jury selection, and the prosecutors are already going in on Jussie Smollett. And this is coming straight out of the town and city where this alleged crime occurred. And this is according to the Chicago Tribune. So it reads, Jussie Smollett trial begins with prosecutors alleging a bogus hate crime and acts defense insisting case was tremendous rush to judgment. After years of controversy and roller coaster twists and turns, the trial of former Empire actor Jussie Smollett finally began Monday, with prosecutors alleging the actor faked a hate crime that grabbed the nation's attention and the defense calling that a fantasy. In the opening statement, Special Prosecutor Dan Webb said that Smollett's fakery was not just a criminal act, it was a despicable act that denigrated victims of actual hate crimes. In his zeal for attention, Webb says Smollett even tampered with the rope his accomplices had put around his neck to make it look more like a lynching. By the time the police get there, Mr. Smollett has moved the knot closer to his throat. Webb said, pointing to a surveillance photo that showed the actor walking up the steps to his apartment on the night of the incident, with the rope apparently dangling from his neck. He wanted it to look like something more serious. But Smollett's attorneys said it was the actor, who was black and openly gay, who was in fact the real victim, not only of a homophobic attack, but also of a tremendous rush to judgment by police and prosecutors that ruined his career and reputation. And the prosecutor's star witness brothers, who told police they helped Smollett fake the attack, are opportunistic liars who hated Smollett because of who he is as a person and were using him to advance their own careers. Defense attorney Nenye Uche said in his opening statement, "They are not some foreign exchange students from Nigeria," Uche said. "They are sophisticated, highly intelligent criminals. Jussie thought he had a friend, but that friendship ran one way. It was a one-way street," excuse me for laughing, But that is just foul. Okay, I'm not going to laugh anymore until after I finish reading. Jussie thought, okay, so anyway, it says, throughout opening statements, which concluded shortly before 7 p.m., Smollett sat calmly at the defense table, dressed in a dark gray suit, occasionally leaning over to whisper something to his attorney. He left the Leeton criminal court building on Monday evening without commenting, flanked by several family members and supporters. While in court, Smollett learned that a film he recently directed, B-Boy Blues, had won fan favorite narrative feature in the American Black Film Festival Awards, according to a spokesperson for the defense. Prosecutors are scheduled to begin presenting witnesses in their case Tuesday morning. The opening sentiments were the culmination of a long day in court that began with jury selection in Associate Judge Jane Lynn's courtroom. A jury of 6 men and 6 women, as well as 2 women alternates, was selected shortly before 4 p.m. Of the men seated on the regular panel, 5 are white and 1 is black, while the women are made up of 5 whites and 1 Hispanic. Oh, shit. Though the disorderly conduct charges Smollett faces are relatively minor, the case brings with it immense baggage, including what became a political crisis of sorts for Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx, and the appointment of Special Prosecutor Webb to handle the case. But jurors are being tasked with determining a far more narrower question. Did Smollett in fact orchestrate a phony hate crime on himself, then lie to police about being a victim? In Webb's opening statement, the answer was emphatically yes. He recapped the now familiar allegations against Smollett, beginning with a hate letter sent to the Empire studio on Chicago's West Side days before the alleged attack. Webb said that while to this day law enforcement has not determined who sent the letter, Smollett was upset that the studio didn't take it more seriously, so he concocted the plan to pay 2 brothers who he knew from the set of Empire, Mbimbola and Olabinjo Osudiaro, to help him stage the fake attack. I hope I pronounced the names right. Webb said Mbimbola will testify that days before the incident, Smollett texted him asking for help on the low. The 2 later talked in Smollett's car, with the actor telling him specifically he wanted them to shout a racial epithet and MAGA to make it seem like the assailants were racist supporters of President Trump. I want you to attack me, but when you hit me, I want you to kind of pull your punches a bit because I don't want to get seriously hurt, Webb said, Smollett told the brothers. Smollett also instructed them to put a rope around his neck to make it look more like a lynching, like a hate crime, Webb said. The 3 men went on a dry run before the attack, part of which was captured on surveillance camera, Webb said. Smollett's Mercedes can be seen circling the Streeterville intersection, showing the brothers the area where he wanted the attack to occur, Webb said. Webb said police reacted swiftly to Smollett's allegation, putting the full force of the department on the case. At one point, they had 26 officers and detectives working it, tallying over 3,000 man hours, according to Webb. In his opening remarks, Uche said, "There's no physical or forensic evidence tying Smollett to the alleged hoax." He also said there's no evidence Smollett was upset with the situation at Empire. Jussie was not a person who liked attention. Even his publicist said was frustrated at him for that. He said, "It's fantasy." Uche also pointed out that the Usondaro brothers, who only accused Smollett after they were arrested upon return from a trip to Nigeria, were the only ones who have changed their story. From the very first moment, Jussie's truth, what he said happened, has remained constant. It has remained consistent. It has not changed. There has not been a part 1. There has not been a part 2 because it's the truth. By now, the contours of the story are familiar. Smollett claims he was walking home from a Subway restaurant one night in January 2019 when 2 men wearing ski masks attacked him yelling racial homophobic slurs. One of his attackers appeared to be white, Smollett said. And in the midst of the assault, one assailant yelled, "This is MAGA country," a reference to then-President Donald Trump's slogan. His manager called police, and officers responded to his apartment to find Smollett with the rope still around his neck. "I just wanted y'all to see it," he told them. The story grabbed international headlines, particularly after the Osundiaro brothers told police that the attack had been faked. Smollett had persuaded them to stage the assault in hopes of catching the attention of his empire bosses, the brothers said. But in a stunning move, Hood County prosecutors quietly dropped those charges shortly after Smollett's formal indictment, causing mass confusion and an outcry that ultimately led to a special prosecutor's appointment. Webb and his team brought a new indictment against Smollett in February 2020, just before the COVID pandemic hit. During jury selection Monday, Lynn asked specifically whether jury candidates had heard about the case in the news, seen Empire, watched the celebrity gossip site TMZ, or belonged to any civil rights or anti-police groups. I'm just reading the comments wrong. About 5 people raised their hands, indicating they had never heard of the Smollett allegations. A handful said they watched Empire, and a few said they'd seen TMZ before. The trial is slated to last at least a week. Unlike during previous high-profile trials, the proceedings will not be live-streamed either online or to an air overflow room. And with COVID shutdowns eased and questionings involving his legal representation resolved, the evidence against Smollett will finally get a public airing in court. Oh, God. So you mean to tell me after 47 months since this incident first occurred, which is basically 2 years and 11 months, this trial is finally coming, and we, the general public, are supposed to be concerned about what's going on, and we're supposed to champion justice for Cook County because of what Jussie Smollett supposedly did with setting up this hate crime, along with the help of the old twins, because I can't pronounce their last name for anything. The only thing that I, Miss Analytical, am sure about is Jussie Smollett was a star of Empire. He's born in 1982. He's a Gemini, and he is truly, in fact, the Gay Tupac. That's all I know for sure. And that his sister is Jussie Smollett, who's a very talented actress. That's all I can tell you. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know who's telling the truth. I don't know if it's Jussie. I don't know if it's the old twins. I don't know if the prosecutor in Cook County really wants to do this to get a win. I don't know if Lee Daniels was a part of it. But the one thing I know for sure is that the whole thing and the weirdest, strange thing kind of work with the MAGA, because the tea really is that the whole thing was a setup from people who was working in the DNC. This is the real tea that I found out 2 years ago. So when the news first hit, the tea was that the people who run the DNC were using Smollett as a tool, not knowingly. Basically, it was a setup by the DNC allegedly, but Jussie Smollett, in the strangest way of things, didn't really know that it was a setup on him. So the old twins really did do this to him, but they was working for the D. This is the T. I swear I read this. But the old twins was working for the DNC. So it was to basically make sure that Trump didn't get elected again, which is why I say, in the weirdest way of things, Trump, even though people say that the election was stolen from him, he's no longer the president. He's 45 is no longer in office. It's now 46 Biden. But when the thing happened, Jussie could not tell what actually occurred, because Jussie got a tip that after everything occurred, that the old twins told him that this was a setup by people from the DNC allegedly told him to do this so that the MAGA supporters and the MAGA and Trump wouldn't be getting elected and to shut down MAGA, because the DNC really feared MAGA more than Trump because they needed another win after the whole defeat of Clinton's campaign. So Jussie has had to go along with the charade, and he's never changed his story, which is the truth. But if you look at the evidence, if you look at the photos of the crime scene, I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a setup by higher powers, because let's keep it real. Why would Jussie Smollett throw away a starring role in Empire, which he ended up losing? That last season, they wrote his character out stating that he had moved to Europe to basically work on music in his career. You didn't even see him in the last episode, and Empire didn't have a proper ending. And iconic shows just like that didn't have the graceful exit because of the situation. Why would he then risk his recording career that was basically on the rise? He was signed to the iconic Columbia Records. Why would he lose that for some dumb crime scene just like this? And we gotta kind of keep it real. Those old brothers, they really had a lot to gain from this, because one of them, I do remember, he had like an atmosphere role on Empire, and they were bodybuilders. They were not gym instructors. They were bodybuilders, but they were trainers. They basically would train people. They wanted to break in and work in Hollywood as gym trainers for the stars as well as actors. And they were going to use Jussie to come up. And Jussie wasn't really looking out for them. So it could have been a scheme from the brothers too. It could have been really from them. But here's the thing. We don't care anymore, because after COVID happened the following year, we got things on our own plate that we got to deal with. We got to deal with protecting ourselves from getting COVID. We got to protect ourselves from these stupid variants. We got to protect ourselves from all this other nonsense. A lot of people lost their jobs during the pandemic. A lot of people lost a lot of loved ones. And believe it or not, even though this is 47 months ago, it really feels, in the strangest way of things, it feels like almost half a decade ago, because so much happened in 2020 that many people not only forgot about the trial, to be really honest, a lot of people forgot about Jussie Smollett. And it's really sad to say, but it's the absolute honest truth. He wasn't active in Empire. And let's be even honest, Empire couldn't film a lot of episodes because of COVID. There was some episodes they could not film. I believe it was like maybe 5 episodes they couldn't film. And Empire canceled. Taraji P. Henson didn't get the spinoff she should have deservingly gotten. And Lee Daniels moved on. Fox don't even mention Jussie Smollett. Journey is the one that everybody talks about, because she was the one that has always been in the public eye. And I don't believe Jussie really set this up. This is my thing. I don't believe it, because his publicist said it best. Jussie doesn't like attention. And that's the truth. If you look at Jussie Smollett's IMDb page, he doesn't have a lot of acting credits. Matter of fact, he didn't really do a lot of acting for almost 10 years until he was on Empire. Jussie is a low-key person. And I believe that he was very sincere when he said he was a gay Tupac. And that's what made people really consider him actually lying, because he made that statement. A lot of people don't know that. But in the end, I'm just going to say this best. If he goes to jail, which it seemed to me it's a misdemeanor, I believe he'll probably get convicted, but it's probably going to be probation, maybe time served. They say that the 4 felonies do carry a prison sentence of up to 3 years. But this is according to the AP. If he is convicted, and I was just going to say this, he'll be placed on probation in order to perform community service, which in other words is a waste of our goddamn time. And with that being said, this is your girl, Miss Analytical. I'm signing off. Thank you for listening to my commentary. Thank you for supporting my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Hit the notification bell if you haven't. Share, comment, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you and have a wonderful night.